Okay, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Yesterday, the Lagos State Governor was announcing, that his state, that is Lagos, among others, he was happy. He had tweeted that Lagos has received the allocated doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines for Lagos. Now, as you recall, there were, a number of conditionalities, so to speak, that states were asked to, become compliant with, just so as to ensure that, this vaccine can go as far and as wide as possible. Because it was provided by COVAX, the COVAX coalition, which is all about, it doesn't matter your status, everybody has a right to life, has a right to health, and so in that way, we got it. So, now they're here. First of all, let's take a report, and then we'll come back in studio. My guest, as you've seen, forgive my, inverted sense of good manners this morning, Dr. Madili Boyo, public health consultant and a friend of the house. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. Let's have that report of Governor Sanwo-Olu announcing.
I want to encourage, like the First Lady said, all of us to continue to observe all of the non-pharmaceutical protocols of the COVID-19. As yes, we are flattening it, but it's still very much with us. And I want to use this opportunity to announce that at about 4 a.m. today, Lagos State received our own consignment of the vaccine. And so it's in our custody. And so we're working out a clear strategy with the federal government, the National Primary Health Board, to ensure that all of the frontline health workers, both in the private and public health facilities, will come forward and will start administering their own vaccine. And thereafter, all of the other strategies that were put in place to ensure that we keep our citizens and our people safe.
And so we're off, really, Dr. Boyo. That is to say, this train has left the station. The rest now is up to our planning, our organization. As I was hearing one commentator say, any vaccine not administered, it doesn't matter how many you have, is not a vaccine. And so that's tremendously important.
And that's very important because vaccines have shelf lives. And beyond that, unlike drugs, they also have what they call a cold chain. So bringing them in must have passed through this 2 to 8 degrees centigrade through the plane, now in Lagos. And as we heard before now, Lagos had prepared for storage of these vaccines. But the next thing is the chain. The chain has to not be unbroken until it gets to the local government headquarters, to the ward level, to the point of vaccination. We must maintain the temperature until it gets into the arm of the person. The temperature has to be maintained.
Indeed.
So we're grateful to COVAX, a collaboration of multinationals that are ensuring that the vaccines are available to the poorest of the poor countries, and that the quantity, they're estimating 2 billion vaccines. I hope they're able to get that so that everybody will be able to get vaccinated. Because the truth is, if one person is still carrying this virus, nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe. And going back to the word COVAX, as you have said, it's a coalition of organizations,
including WHO, and Gavi, Gates Foundation, and all these guys. Yes.
All of them contributing to the idea of being broke is not going to be a reason anybody around the world won't get the vaccine. Equity, yes. This vaccine equity thing.
So they are looking at the pricing, they are looking at even the authenticity of the vaccines goes through COVAX. Because COVAX doesn't want the developing countries to get vaccines that are spurious or that are dangerous. So the pricing of the vaccines, the production, until it gets to the very person that is given to COVAX as the monitoring this.
And both the countries and shall we call the person a patient who gets a jab? It's free. It's free to our country and also free.
There are some logistics that won't be free there, like the transportation.
Well, well-being, yes.
Like the actual the cost of giving the vaccine. the syringes, the swabs, the nurses, and
but we are guaranteed a supply.
In supply.
Because
but one thing the governor failed to tell us is how many doses came. Because when these 3.94 million doses came in, the government prioritized Lagos and Abuja as in fact, Lagos is the epicenter. Abuja is just one center. So we don't know how many of the 3.94, let's say 4 million, was given to Lagos. That is very, very crucial to know, because Lagos still has the largest number of people in the country, the most vibrant state, and also the state that has the largest number of people infected. I remember the index case came in through Lagos. So I expect that Lagos must have had quite a number, but it wasn't announced.
It wasn't. And Lagos isn't the only state that was compliant.
Oh, Ondo State received that yesterday.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when you look at it, as we've also been saying, everybody has to be on board, at least in terms of the knowledge. Don't forget, government has said that, nobody will be coerced into taking the vaccine. But of course, what example could be louder than that of the president and the vice president getting the vaccine?
And all the governors.
And all the governors and the members
Somebody
of the
really told me that
Council.
she's going to wait for 2 weeks to see whether those guys are alive before volunteering to take the vaccine. And that's the Nigerian attitude.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. If that's the way people want to be, they have a right. And in a democracy, people are, government is also sensitive to that. So hence the statement that, no. I mean, we are saying that it's the right thing to do. That's our point of view. We also know that there are people saying things differently. So be it.
Yeah, but the government is also worried about the fact that people should not see the vaccines as the be-it and the end-all.
Okay.
We still have to mask up with vaccines, we still have to maintain social distancing, we have to do washing of the hands, and we have to avoid large gatherings.
Exactly.
Because there's a tendency to say, oh, I've taken the vaccine, so I can do whatever I like. So those things have to be...
And as you and your colleagues have told us before, the fact that you have the vaccine doesn't mean you still can't transmit.
Yes.
At least doctors are saying that sufficient work hasn't been done to be able to be pedantic about that.
Yes, about
so
that.
The studies are continuing, but it's probably safest, as you were saying, Doctor, that in spite of or in addition to the vaccine, when you do get yours anywhere in the country, you still have to keep up the regime as highly as you did before getting the vaccine.
Exactly.
Because emphasis still has to be, doesn't it, Doctor, on prevention.
And that's why the mask is like a vaccine now. Masking up is like the vaccine.
Washing hands
is like a vaccine.
Exactly.
So now the only thing we know about vaccine is to boost your immunity, but these things prevent you from actually getting the virus. So it's good to promote these things.
Now, talking about those things that actually prevent you from getting the virus, which we are being encouraged by medical professionals all over the world, I guess because governments anywhere in the world, and certainly in Nigeria, don't want to go through another close down. We are not enforcing, we don't have a close down. I don't think we have planned for it. But if you look around town, at least in Lagos, southwest of the country where we're broadcasting from, we're talking about the regime. Mask up, wash your hands frequently, social distance, that is to say, combined with this social distance, don't be unnecessarily in the midst of crowds. Now, that you might have noticed, Doctor, nobody's paying much attention to that in Lagos, southwest of the country where we're broadcasting from.
Even all over the country.
Just go to any market. Okay, those are the vaccines arriving, as the governor said, 4 a.m. Now, go to any big center in Lagos, in Ikeja here, very close to where we're broadcasting from in Lagos, southwest of the country. Go to the shopping mall, the Ikeja City Mall, and people are going up and down. They've relaxed. Not the management of the place, but people seem a lot more relaxed. People don't wear masks properly, but most importantly, there are still people jam-packed. That's something that I think government has to sensitize, that without closing down. I don't know. I see parties. Over the weekend, I saw parties. People have returned to normal.
There are two things here. One is enforcement. It is difficult to enforce, especially after the NSAS movement and the burning down of police stations, and policemen don't have anywhere to take you to. If you're arrested in Lagos today, say they take you to Ikeja, where will they take you to? So the policemen have been discouraged by their lack of what you may call the DPO, the police, local police stations, where they can take you to. Two, if you stop people on the road, there's this feeling which we have not been able to, as it were, curtail, this feeling that this thing is not real.
Nah,
we have been talking about it on radio, on TV, until you begin to put names to faces and to figures, and people know that their uncles have had it or their aunties have had it.
Doctor, I dare say those that are saying that COVID is not real or doesn't exist must be in a tiny minority. I would wager, I would guess that most right-thinking members of society, because they're also open to global news, must know that COVID is real. They might...
Okay, as a frontline doctor, the majority of people believe there's no COVID. That's the
majority?
Yes.
You say that advisedly.
We meet them in the hospital, we meet them and we even tell them, you're not with your mask. I say, forget that one, which COVID.
But even doctors are getting infected. What do you think is happening?
Doctors are wearing masks. Health workers are wearing masks. But you meet people that come to hospital without masks. You have to beg them to get their mask on. Yeah. And they tell you that this COVID is not the same as the COVID in America. So that this is a Nigerian COVID just used to deceive people and get money.
Well, I hope they are hearing this, because it indicates that there's a lot more communication work to be done then.
Even it's worse outside Lagos. You need to go to Ilorin, Enugu, Asaba. You just think you are not...
There's no emergency. There's no health emergency.
People just go about the place without masks. So even Lagos is trying.
Yeah.
Go to Ibadan. Go to Ibadan. People even have said from the first lockdown, Ibadan has not really observed masking. Those that observe masking are those within the university environment and some other places like that feel, oh, we believe in this thing. So the average man in town simply, and it comes again back to our attitude and practice. We believe that if your time has not come for you to die, you are not going to die.
Okay.
And if your time has come, even if you wear a mask and you're in your bedroom, a trailer will come in there to kill you while your time has come.
Well.
So this belief that if your time has not come has enabled us to begin to live as if nothing can happen to you except God says you are going to die.
Well, well, you are on the front line, so you are reporting as an eyewitness. And
what we see there, yes.
It's quite unfortunate, but it's not the way to think. And so all these people are very angry when we might mention the National Orientation Agency. Where, people get angry. What are they doing? They should scrap it. Mr. George, if Mr. George were to be hearing this, he would just say, why are they even mentioning that organization's name?
Let's look at it this way, sir. It's possible for you to know that the response to the vaccine will depend on people's attitude to the COVID-19. If they believe that COVID-19 is not, in fact, we're looking at 4 million doses. You'll be surprised that people may not take it. Except we beat the drums, we go out of the way to enforce it. Well, tell teachers, for instance, you cannot teach in a primary school if you've not taken it. Time will come like that. Why? Because you can't cause other people to get this thing.
Doctor, how about a plot twist?
Yeah.
People being the way they are, at least the way they're projecting, but if we were to look at that 4 million doses that we got, before you know where you are in this plot twist of mine, they are insufficient. There are many more people waiting outside to get the vaccine, and we've exhausted this 4 million piece, because sometimes we are like that. We say one thing openly, and then we nip behind, just because we want to be heard, we nip behind and we go and get our own vaccine. And again, as our people say, you do shojufuru, as if to say, nothing happened.
Yes. That's going to happen, but
that's another aspect.
These 4 million vaccines will be enough to go around for this first round. Don't forget, we're expecting another 20 million vaccines, and it's going to be a continuous process.
Yes.
But the point right now is that there are enough people to take these 4 million, because mainly for the health workers, frontline workers, those in isolation centers, and customs, immigration, people that have reasons to go out and meet people that are going to get these vaccines. But you find that to convince even some of these people to take the vaccine will be a problem. Okay. Remember, we still have problems with polio. We still have problems getting our children to get the measles vaccines. We still have problems getting people to get the yellow fever vaccine. They prefer to buy the yellow fever form and cross the border than to take the vaccine.
Maybe they're going to have to keep on emphasizing that it doesn't cost you a dime. Well, there's no dime in Nigeria. It doesn't cost you a kobo.
Yes, there's no kobo in Nigeria.
Well, that's a separate subject. Touche, doctor.
I get my son Kobo one day and he threw it down and said, "What is this?"
Well, Mr. Yakub, good morning, sir. Thank you for holding on. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Chiviori, and then good morning to Dr. Boyo.
Good morning.
Chiviori, in fact, for me, I think God is just being kind to us in this country. I realize something now. These days, if you go into a market, public market, and then you happen to put on your nose mask or face mask, as case may be, Chiviori, do you know what? They will be looking at you as if
they'll be making fun of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
If care is not taken, you'll be forced to remove it gradually.
So these are the things that need to these attitudes are those that need to be changed.
Attitude is so terrible, because I don't know, maybe they were believing that this thing is not more exist or something. And then I want to ask Dr. Bo, is it because of our genetics or because of our environment or something? Because if it is not, I could have been thinking something like what happened in other crimes happened to us in this country. It could have been disaster. And then my question to Dr. Boy again is this very particular vaccine now, I want to know, is it one dose straight, or we are going to repeat it 3 times as hepatitis B vaccine, or it has other brand that if you take it one dose at once, you don't take it anymore?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yakub. Appreciate your call. Let Dr. Boyo answer the question.
Yeah, the first thing is, why is it not like in America where they're having 2,000 deaths every day, although now reduced? The reasons we've not been able to put our fingers directly on it. What we can say, one, is that our demographics. About 70% of people in this country are below the age of 30. And that age group tends to have a greater level of immunity. You know, in those other countries, you have more people above the age of 60. Less than 10% of people in this country are above 60 years old. That is sad, which means life expectancy is poor. So we have
Doctor, I'm interested. That's the fact.
Yes.
That
less than 10%
of people.
Yeah, you are among the 10%.
And that is why I'm saying, come on, say that again.
Yes.
10% of
these people above 60 in this country.
I say you are hearing it. You are hearing it. Okay.
You know? So with that, we have the deaths going on. You see, the elderly people tend to have it more. Then those with comorbidities like hypertension and diabetes, obesity, yes. That's
those
it.
are underlying
then people
conditions.
also say that because of our consumption of chloroquine and anti-malaria over the period, maybe it has given us a level of immunity.
Oh, okay.
But all those things are neither here nor there. The simple truth is this: we have been very fortunate. Why? South Africa is having it. Other countries in Africa are having it. Even the blacks from Nigeria who are in America are dying.
Let me just pick up on we are very fortunate and hand it over to Reverend Dominic. Reverend Dominic, we are very fortunate.
Good morning, Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Does this come down to the Lord is good all the time?
Maybe the Lord is good all the time for Nigerians. There's no doubt about that. Because when this case came up last year, there was a scaring, news that if it kills in Africa the way it kills in Europe, that there will be no undertaker in Africa. Everywhere will be dead bodies. I will not found it. If you come to my market here in Kotu, you wonder if people in the Kotu here know what is COVID-19. If you come to the market, they are still flying akara on the road. They are still picking akara on the road and eating. And they are still sneezing. And there was a big crowd. Come here. But Yori, there's something I have found out since we begin to manage COVID-19 that pleases me. Since I followed this vaccine since I arrived in Nigeria last week, the openness has given me joy. It's not Nigeria. The openness, the protocol. But yesterday, the same Nigeria factor has come in, Chief Yori. Why shouldn't you tell us how many doses of vaccine in Epic Center? Why should it become a secret again?
Yeah.
Why do we go back to that Nigerian factor? If it's 10 or 20, nobody will quarrel about it. Because we know it's not full vaccine we need to have.
Okay.
We need to portion it number by number.
All right.
Why do you bring the secrecy that not help us?
All right.
Number 3, Yori, I'm a pastor. If the vaccine come here, we use it. Let the government talk to pastors. The main issue is pastors. If we pastors can encourage our members, then we take it.
Okay.
Because there's this, this conspiracy story, it kills, is antichrist, is this. I don't think it is so. our president has made me to be glad about him again. For taking it openly, I will take that vaccine. And I encourage everybody to take the vaccine. Because faith without works is dead. Good morning.
Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
So
thank you
maybe
very
I will
much.
start with the last other question about how many doses are we going to take?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Yes.
that's what they asked now.
Yes.
Now, this Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, we're going to take 2 doses within a month interval. But to say, is it like the hepatitis vaccine? Yes. This COVID is not going to leave the world in the next 5-10 years, because even after taking the vaccines now, there can be outbreaks. Just like polio, we're still taking polio, children are still taking polio vaccine, people are still taking measles vaccine, people are still taking toxoid. If there's another outbreak anywhere in the world, well, we had recently that Ebola outbreak in some parts of Africa, the vaccines will be given again. So the vaccines can protect us for some months, and if we are not careful and we're going to live the way we are living, we will have mega spreader events and the vaccines will be needed all over again.
And that's the last thing we need.
Yeah, then,
because even the UK, they opened up the schools yesterday, and there was a lot of trepidation.
Yes,
but they were taking the risk, but they said it was a calculated risk.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. George, and thank you for holding on. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
Good morning to Dr. Boyo.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, please, I want to start with a complaint. What have we on TM? What have we done that you are not giving us time?
Well,
look at your view. Your view has graduated from 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Well, yes.
Instead of we getting 90 minutes, we are getting less. So I beg now.
Well, you know, we're a news show. You know, maybe because we're a news show and we are followed immediately by the news, but whatever. You know.
It's equally a talk show. I've seen how many topics you treat in a day. It's equally a talk show. So please, let them bear us in mind. Otherwise,
the management is listening. Okay, thank you very much. Now, somebody wanted to annoy you. They mentioned what is that that agency, National Orientation Agency. You know, you always complain about them.
We don't have an orientation agency. I think it's better for the government to just scrap that agency. As far as I'm concerned, we don't have one.
Because people are not behaving as if we still have an emergency. People are doing, let it be said, precisely as they like.
Yes. The press also has a blame in it, Uncle Yori. Since National Orientation Agency is virtually non-existent, I expected the press to be highlighting how people are suffering from it in hospitals, how the hospitals have become more crowded. Show them as they are groping on beds.
Okay. To demonstrate that there's a strategy.
Yes, that this is what is happening. If somebody is telling you that it does not exist, see a victim. Interview people that have recovered. Interview people that are possibly still in the hospital. Show how crowded the hospital is, so that they know that what they are being told is not true. And then the government should also engage the religious bodies.
Yeah.
These pastors are making things worse. These religionists, they are telling their members the very opposite of what the government is telling them. So,
yeah, but not as far as at least one of them. Reverend Dominic spoke just before you, and you heard that his view was totally different.
Yeah, well, you know, when I say they, it doesn't mean that 100%. The majority of them, are not telling their members the truth of the matter.
Okay.
They give them the impression that there is spiritual healing for it. When you come to the church, they pray for you, you can get well.
Yeah.
This thing is not a Nigerian disease.
Yeah.
It will not affect you. And they make money from it. Collecting money from these people to come for so-called healing, which doesn't happen. So these are some of the area. The government should engage religious leaders.
All right,
and community leaders as well.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Mr. George, because when the Reverend Dominic, when he was speaking and said that people should they should involve reverends, I would have expanded that to religious leaders and, as Mr. George has just said, community leaders as well.
Leaders of thoughts and
opinion. Now, it was Reverend Dominic that spoke about here we go again. What is the secrecy? In fact, I've heard some say, why are they bringing it in the midnight, so to speak? And, the whole idea about we don't know how many vaccines. I don't know if it is actually an attempt at secrecy or just an omission somewhere, and that these figures are available and there's no need to hide the number that have come in. Since government wants to be, open and transparent. Let me quickly take Mazi Okorafo, who has called in from Arochukwu. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dr. Boyo.
Good morning.
You see, this vaccine is very, very good. Very, very good in the sense that it has now reduced tension in the country. Because that issue of that strictly these people have done it because there is a medicine, there is an antidote to do what? To solve this COVID-19 that is about to play in this country. But the question now is, the local government authority, they are in charge of primary health care sector. Now, it is not there for them, the local government authority, to meet all those personnel they have in that place, let them go to the communities, use the youth leaders, and do what? Draw their attention. Even if the religious leaders, as what the past scholars have just said, use it as 2 minutes sermon, whether the Muslim or Christian or traditional worshippers, it will help us. But the situation whereby we depend only on government advice, it will not help the situation. And the question is, phone numbers to be provided everywhere.
Okay.
Not only in the medical center, healthcare centers. Going to general hospital is not healthy.
Okay, thank you very much, Mazi. A massive sensitization campaign seems to be what you're saying. Thank you very much, Mazi. As you were saying, Doctor.
Yes, I was saying that that the point is still what we are saying. The vaccines are good. We can promote the vaccines, but what we need to promote more, like what he said, is that this COVID-19 is real. And they have been during the 1-year anniversary of COVID, TVC and other stations showed hospitals and showed people on the beds, showed people on oxygen and things like that. For privacy issues, it's not easy to go to hospital and begin to show people on the bed, people dying. People will not like it. You can do it in other parts of the world. We are very, very sensitive people here. In Africa, health is a very private thing. That's number one. Number two, these things came in at night because the airspace is clear, it's easier, and to move things at night that they did may sound a bit maybe looking very funny, but availability of the planes for most of the cargo planes may be very busy in the daytime, and it's when they got these planes to move that they got to move.
Exactly.
And then they're going to
could be that. Yeah. It is no more than that.
Yes. And then at night, the temperature is much lower too, and they can easily speed off to the nearest place to dump this thing, and we can start using them the next day. Exactly. Like I said before, let's thank God that these vaccines are here. And let's go to the next stage of, let's encourage you to take the vaccines. Yes. But you cannot take the vaccines if you don't believe that the disease is real.
So that work is ongoing.
Yeah, that work is ongoing now.
But I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to take up that 4 million because a lot of people have registered.
Yes.
And
I'm getting mine on Friday. I'm getting mine day after tomorrow.
Exactly.
Now the point is
there
this:
must be hundreds of thousands,
people,
if not millions,
begin
like
to
you.
know that if you don't get the vaccines, there are many repercussions that will come up.
Yeah.
You won't be able to fly. You will enter some flights will be saying, if you are coming in, if you have your vaccine and your boarding pass, come to one corner. You now get your vaccine certificate. You want to take your child to school, so they ask you for the vaccine.
So all of those are added encouragements. The most important thing is to protect your own life and those of the lives of those around you.
Especially the elderly. Now you are a young person, you say I don't care, but you have a grandma at home. You have a grandpa at home. You may not have shown the symptoms because of your age, but your grandma, your grandpa could die because of you.
God forbid. So thank you very much, Dr. Amadili Boyo, public health consultant, as always, coming along to, ginger us on to doing the right thing.
It's also my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Indeed, our pleasure. So stay with us, please. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And, well, my guests this time, we've got two of them. Comrade Nelson Ekujimi is a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And then we also have Dr. Doyin Odebowale, SSA to Governor Akeredolu on special duties. Good morning to you too, sir. And, well, I'll take it for, I'll assume that you are indeed hearing us. And the reason why these gentlemen are here is that, well, first of all, the news came through that the Ondo governor has had to ban, as it were, you know, the NURTW, that's the National Union of Road Transport Workers in his home state. Well, there still is RTEAN, Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria. That is not banned.
No, absolutely.
It is the NURTW.
Yes. Yeah.
And, well, this probably has to do with, you know, matters of maintaining the peace. Now, what we'll do before we start, and we'll start by talking with Dr. Odebowale, but before then, let's look at this package that gives us background to this story.
Akure, the Ondo State capital, in the last few days has witnessed bloody clashes between two factions of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW. The latest in this series of attacks occurred on Tuesday along Old Garage area of Akure. Apart from one person that was killed, many others were injured. So members of the union urged the state government to wade into the crisis before it degenerates completely.
So government to interfere. We don't want trouble. We don't want to fight. And we don't want to be burning properties. We want government to be interfere before the matter get it to where we don't expect. So we need government to intervene, sir.
The state deputy governor, who addressed some aggrieved members of NURTW, said government will no longer tolerate acts of lawlessness.
The quarrel or fight between the different factions within the same body has led to some of these crises we are witnessing. But if you can recall, the government has suspended all union activity.
In the meantime, the state government has declared two NURTW members wanted over their involvement in Tuesday's clash. Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on special duties, Doyin Odebowale, said activities of the NURTW remain suspended in the state.
To inform the general public that what you know as NURTW in Ondo State will not be permitted in any part of Ondo State until further notice. No officials, no members. And that the sale of government tickets shall be done directly. They are unruly. This morning, they went about shooting. Security agencies should go after these men whose nicknames I just mentioned, with a view to ascertaining where they got the guns from.
Although normalcy has returned to Akure, the people hope that the government will bring those behind the clashes to justice. Ayodeji Moradeyo, TVC News, Akure.
Okay, our thanks to Ayodeji Moradeyo there. And just to remind you that Comrade Nelson Ekujimi is still in studio, and remotely in Ondo State is Dr. Doyin Odebowale. So, Dr. Odebowale, coming back to you, so what are we going to do now, since, as you were saying in that report that went out yesterday, even though this matter has been brewing, as it were, for about a couple of weeks, but no form of activity from NURTW will be permitted anywhere in Ondo State. So what, is there going to be a caretaker committee, or how are the motor parks going to be managed, you know, whatever is the proper word they're called, the agberos that provide some level of organization? How is all of that going to be handled?
So, sorry, I'm finding it very difficult to hear.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Okay, yes.
Okay, since we just saw you on that clip saying that no form of NURTW activities will be tolerated for the time being in Ondo State, are you going to be putting in place a caretaker committee to manage the car parks and motor parks? How's that going to work?
Yeah, we are working it out. We are trying to see the way we look at it. In fact, we are asking, we are asking for names of those who are going to sell our tickets directly. In fact, we're moving around the motor parks to ensure full compliance with the directive of the governor that no member of NURTW must be found. Not only NURTW, even Ritian We don't want to see any of them in our motor parks for now.
Even the Road Transport Employers Association.
Precisely, we don't want to see the two of them for now. For now, we don't want to see them. You know, even if Ritian is going to come back, we don't know yet, because until the governor will give the directive. We don't want to see any of them, because we don't want anybody to operate under any guise. You know, because if you allow it, you will find these miscreants moving to their parks. I mean, trying to foment trouble.
Okay.
So both of them are not to be seen in our parks for now.
Well, in terms of the pictures, they say pictures worth 1,000 words. In terms of the question, how serious is it? I think the report very much gave us a picture. So there was a threat of breakdown of law and order necessitating this.
Yeah, there was. In fact, even much more than that. You know, we gathered incredible intelligence that these people were moving from house to house, searching for their opponents with a view to eliminating them. So, and of course, no responsible government would want to wait until that happens.
Okay.
So that's why we had to, you know, we had to take preemptive measures. But of course, after inviting them to a meeting and telling them of the need to keep the peace, we discovered that, you know, they behaved as if there was no government at all, no authority to the fight. So they still went after, you know, one another until they killed somebody, and another one was critically injured at the motor park yesterday. They went about, you know, many residents of Akure had to go back home.
And some people are still at large. You're still looking for some people in connection with the killing. Is it murder or killing that you've just spoken about? The police authorities will probably, so the police authorities will be on the heels of those that they say are still at large, right? Okay, I think for the moment there's something of a cut. Now, you know, the SSA to the governor, you know, has explained this situation from their point of view. It was a situation that was going to get out of hand. How well has this kind of thing worked elsewhere before, if it has?
Well, I think first and foremost, we must commiserate with those who have lost their loved ones and those whose properties, you know, were destroyed. Be that as it may, I think we have seen this scenario repeat itself in various states of the Federation, where the leadership of the Road Transport Union, which is a trade association, you know, affiliated to the Nigerian Labour Congress, because we must make that very, very clear, it's a registered trade union. And under the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they have a right to, you know, conduct themselves within the line of business. But when their activities becomes a threat to public peace and of law and order, it is the responsibility of the government to weed in, just like the Ondo State government has waded in. And we have seen this played out in the past, where there were skirmishes between rival factions within the NURTW. We have seen it in states like Lagos. We have seen it in Oyo. We have seen it in even in our neighboring Ogun State and some other states. And the situation normally is that the government comes, you know, clamping down on them until it restores normalcy, and, you know, through intervention from other labor movement and other interests, they come back to the drawing board and, you know, they give their awards, you know, to keep the peace, and, you know, they return back to business. But in this case, one is very happy that, you know, the government or the state police command has given out a notice that 2 people are wanted for, you know, being the brain behind the killing. And I expect that in the course of investigation for what led to the, you know, to the disruption of public peace in Akure on Tuesday yesterday, that not only those 2 would have, you know, perpetrated those acts of violence, their, you know, supporters must also be reined in, so that, you know, we'll send a clear message to them that, you know, this is a society that operates, you know, by law and order, and no person can be greater than the society, or no association or group. And any association or group that tries to undermine the peace and tranquility of any state must be made to face the full wrath of the law. So one expects that the state government as well as the police authorities, you know, will walk the talk and ensure that these persons are arrested and they are made, they are prosecuted before the courts.
Okay, I'm hearing that Dr. Odebowale is back with us now, and so welcome back, Dr. Odebowale. So I was asking when you were not online about the police being wanting 2 people at least. Is there any update on that? That whereas in connection with the killings that you spoke about?
Oh, thank you. The police commissioner came back from Abuja because of the problem, and they are inviting as many as the names come up. The police and the SSS are going after them. Anybody connected with the mayhem will be arrested. Any of them, anybody, any name that comes up will be invited.
Okay.
Today, the police commissioner will be holding another round of meeting.
Okay.
With those who are not in the picture, with a view to giving them a direct warning that we will not tolerate any stupidity in Ondo State. We will not.
Perhaps.
The document got to point that you see people who were wielding these miscreants are wielding guns openly. Cutlasses openly, and our children were going to school.
Now, I understand NURTW, if indeed their members, as you are reporting now, if they were doing all of that, but RTEAN, that is Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, you said even those ones too, even that particular association, you don't want any activity from them as well. Any particular reason?
The Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, did not have any direct link with this, current crisis.
Okay.
Not one. Because in fact, they have been acting responsibly.
But you did say that. Sorry, maybe the name is here. You did say that NURTW and even RTEAN, for now, we don't want any activity from any of them.
We don't want them. We don't want them. We don't want any of them. We are not asking drivers not to operate. Drivers, commercial drivers who want to pick passengers are permitted to do so. They are going to pick passengers. Then we are going to bring out those who will be selling government tickets. Those will be selling government tickets to these drivers, these commercial cars operators.
Okay.
We are going to do that. So we don't want to rush it. We are taking our time. We are going to hold a meeting in this afternoon, screen the names that will be submitted to us in all the 18 local governments. So we are taking over our motor parks for now.
Fine. But Dr. Odebowale, let me just quickly slip this in, because we're talking about this is COVID-19, the pandemic time. We've just received the viruses, almost 4 million virus. Ondo State must have got its supply. Now, one of the issues that we brought up in the one of the issues that I brought up in the last section was that people are continuing as if there was no problem. You remember there was an advisory that transport vehicles had to be 50% full. None of that. Has it been going on? Because we haven't been able to see any of that. Is it possible that these matters might get a mention in this sort of rejig that is happening now?
Well, we will try to look at it now that we are going to be involved, direct. We don't want a situation where, somebody will want to act as an alternate governor in this state.
Okay, I see what you mean.
We went out, sensitizing the members of the public when this COVID thing started. They pretended as if they were cooperating, but of course, as you saw, none of them did. It's about money, 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 money. And of course, they transfer the incidence of this recklessness to the motorists, to the commuters. So we will try to see how we can take that in. So at least later today, I understand that the governor will be receiving the vaccine, the anti-COVID-19 vaccine. So he's going to do that. Then we can take it up from that. But for now, you see, the drivers themselves are not also good people.
Okay, Doctor, I beg your pardon, Dr. Odebowale. Thank you very much, for bringing us up to speed on the situation there everything seems to be under control, there now, although it's unfortunate that it broke out the way it did. Well, they seem to have, got it down there, and as I was saying, in view of the current times, hope they can slip in something about not loading vehicles to capacity.
Yes, I listened to the doctor speaking from Akure, and what he was accusing the transport union of doing, of being interested in money, he is also guilty of that, because he was just talking about selling our tickets.
It sounds like about money.
Mr.
Lajide in Abulegba, let me squeeze it in. Good morning, sir. Quickly, please. Okay, we lost Mr. Lajide in Abulegba.
And we know that the management of parks, because the NURT and RTN have been suspended from the parks. As we sit down here today, I know for a fact that people within Ondo State are moving from one point to the other, that businesses are going on in the parks. So we need to ask, who will be responsible for the management of the parks? He also talked about the monitoring of the COVID-19 protocols. Who manages it at the park? Because right now, the special advisor was telling us that, the government is, still discussing, still coming up with names of those to manage it. And we want to ask, does it mean within that period that the NURT has been suspended till now, will those parks be shut? Are they telling us that people are not moving from Akure to Owo to maybe Ado-Ekiti or Ibadan or what have you? Well, for me, it seems they were not prepared for what broke out, and they didn't have, a plan B.
A contingency.
So I think we must make them aware that the NURT is not only responsible for collecting tolls, they also have other responsibilities.
We've got to leave it there.
Okay.
I beg your pardon, because we've finally run out of time. But I want to thank you very much, Comrade Nelson Ekujimi, for coming along.
Thank you very much for having me.
And also our thanks to Dr. Doyin Odebo-Wale, SSA2 Governor Akeredolu on special duties. So that's our program. In connection with the theme, wash your hands frequently, socially distance. You know what I mean. 2 feet between you and the next person. And mask up, please. That's our program today. See you tomorrow, God willing, for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.